Welcome to Towards 2015, the program to broaden your business perspective in the ASEAN market with over 600 million consumers. At the end of last year, Western Digital was inundated at Bang Pa-in Industrial Estate, and this has caused the hard disk production industry major repercussions worldwide due to the supply chain destruction. John Coyne, CEO of Western Digital, now shares his experience with Towards 2015 today, as well as his company's lessons from the previous flooding disaster.
I'm going to talk briefly and share with you some of the passion I've injected into Western Digital over 29 years, the last 5 years of that as CEO, and maybe draw some parallels with that as a general recipe for success. We're a publicly registered U.S. company. I'm going to talk a little bit about the future, so I have to warn you that I have no obligation to update my thoughts anytime in the future. The business in which Western Digital participates is the storage of digital data. And digital data pervades our lives today. With everything we do today in education, in commerce, in entertainment, has gone digital over the last several tens of years and created an insatiable appetite for storage of that digital data. And hard drives are the most commercially effective way to store that data, and all of your lives, if you think about it, are sitting out there somewhere, most likely on a hard drive. That's created a $35 billion business, which continues to grow apace with the insatiable demand for digital data. And we've had a little wake-up call recently with the floods here that have impaired the industry's ability to deliver product to customers. The December quarter for the industry shipped just under 120 million drives compared with 176 million in the previous quarter. The impact of the Thai floods reducing output by over 30%. None of us, I believe, would like to go back to a life without access to the digitized world that supports our functionality today. And the drive industry is fundamentally founded on innovation. The unit growth in the industry over the last 50 years has been in the range of 8 to 10% compound annually. But the amount of data that we package onto a disk in a disk drive has been increasing by 40% a year for 50 years. And that's the true value proposition that's supported by fundamental innovation in critical technology that today the world relies on to function. As I talk about WD, I'm going to talk a little less about policy and more about practice, a little less about aspiration and more about perspiration, and a little less about elocution and more about execution. Because this is a business that requires constant vigilance and constant work. Over the last 10 years, this has been a hugely competitive industry. In fact, for 50 years, it's been a hugely competitive industry. At its peak, there were over 80 companies participating. 20 years ago, there were 20 companies. 10 years ago, there were 10 companies. Today, there are 4, shortly to be 3. And in the last 10 years, WD uniquely has grown from 10% market share to 32% market share, the only company to be consistently profitable in every quarter over the last 11-year period. And we've done that through a focus on reinvestment in R&D and in capital to support that growth, driven by the ultimate customer report card, which is market share. And then accomplish that in a profitable way by focusing on execution and efficiency and effectiveness, and built up our resources in terms of capital and cash to enable us to continue that endeavor. So innovation deployed to generate, to take fundamental technology, deploy it into great products, make those products available at high, consistent quality, continually broaden the product offerings in terms of portfolio, both in form factor and firmware, to enable new and exciting applications, and to do all of that with a focus on industry cost leadership, that complete package resulting in customer delight that reinforced our business and caused continuous and consistent growth in market share. And when I became CEO just over 5 years ago, I tried to analyze and capture what it was that was driving that success over the years. And we codified those values and behaviors that would drive that success. And 2 of those being passion and engagement in the business and innovation to continue to position the company to be relevant in the next wave of requirements from our customers. But there are other characteristics also required. The ability to take that passion, that engagement with the business, and turn it into action. And do that in a continuously improved way that resulted in productivity, and not to give up when the going got tough. And we've had many challenges over the last few years, not least the worldwide recession, followed shortly by the tsunami, and right on its heels, the floods here in Thailand. So we've learned about perseverance. Doing all of that with integrity and teamwork and openness to support the activity. In Thailand, we're very honored to have been awarded the Prime Minister's Best Industry Award in 2011. We first established a presence here in 2001. Today, we represent about 45% of the output of the Thai HDD industry. I should back up on that. Pre-flood, we represented 45% of the output of the Thai HDD industry. We're temporarily impaired, but expect to resume normal service shortly. 60% of WD's total operations capability was based here in Thailand, grown over the last 10 years. About 38,000 people, and dependent on that 38,000 people and our activities, another 200,000 in the Thai supply chain for the industry. This industry has been particularly good for Thailand. In the early part of the 2000s, around 2003, 2004, we entered into significant discussion with BOI and the Ministry of Industry, and the HDD industry was designated as significantly important for Thailand. And as a consequence of the policies developed at that time, there was significant investment by the drive companies, but more significantly by the support infrastructure and the component industries that support the drive business. And that grew Thailand's participation in worldwide hard drives from 20% of worldwide production back in 2004, 2005, to between 40 and 45% of worldwide production today. The industry is important, about 6% of total exports, 4% of total GDP, and growing at a significantly higher compound annual growth rate than either GDP or exports in general. So contributing significantly to that overall growth rate here in Thailand.